Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Confronting Evil. Tonight, Seth and Mackenzie take a look at things a bit differently than they ever have before, and maybe even a little bit differently than you've expected as well, for that matter. It's time to hit the road, so buckle up and ready yourselves for another episode of Confronting Evil. Honey was terrified and alone. She knew these woods like the back of her hand, but something was different. The paths on which she ran kept changing, or never yielding what she expected to be there. Every time she thought she was out, she would turn the bend, expecting salvation, only to find herself deeper within the forest than she had ever been. The moon shone brightly overhead, but the canopy above her was so thick it lent little assistance to her struggling eyes. Usually, Honey had ways of dealing with situations like this, could handle her own when on such even ground, but again, this was different. She had little to no control here, and that's what terrified her the most. But at a close second was that which stalked her at every turn. The thing never seemed to run, always slowly and methodically plodding forward, but was always either right behind her or close enough to make her uncomfortable, always around the bend. The thing was mostly covered in shadow, and somehow seemed to almost absorb most of the moonlight around it, lending very little details, aside from its cystic and pustular-riddled skin, making what she could see of its flesh simultaneously terrifying and revolting, and one of its eyes gleaming through the shadow, a glowing red eye. As it gave chase, slowly, never far out of reach, the thing hissed words that made no sense to Honey.
"Give up now.
And
You won't win."
The thing hissed in an odd, ethereal, resonating voice. Honey had no idea what he meant, and did not require further knowledge at the moment. But as she ran around the last bend, the voices stopped. And if she had turned to see, she would have noticed that the thing was not there. Instead, her focus was on that which was right in front of her, in the middle of a dense, night-covered timberland, where it had no place to be. It was a phone. A cordless phone. On a plain white table that also seemed just as out of place as the phone did.
"Do not answer it."
The thing hissed again, causing Honey to spin around and see it standing in the shadows behind her, just out of reach of any moonlight at all. But before she could speak, the phone on the table began to ring. Honey eyed the beast, ignoring the phone, remembering what the thing had said, and as she did, Honey opened her eyes, laying in her bed underneath a midnight purple sky, being awakened by the phone still ringing on her nightstand. Honey sat up, picked up the receiver, and placed the phone to her ear, already knowing who was on the other end.
What's with you lately, Seth?
What do you mean? Nothing?
Don't give me that. I know you better than you know yourself, Seth. First, you pick this dive bar over the local health food joint, and then you're ordering shots. I didn't even know you could drink shots. And now, you're chewing on a greasy burger that you would normally turn your nose up at. Seriously, bro, this isn't like you.
Mackenzie pondered, prodding her brother.
Really, Kenzie? I'm fine. We haven't gotten a single lead on Cash. Old Blue Eye has come up with nothing on his Crimson Eye twin. And Huck's been so down on himself, I I just needed to get out and have a drink. Though I can't blame him. All his family keeps dying or disappearing. Sounds a lot like our family.
Seth said pessimistically.
Yeah, I can't really blame him either, or even you for that matter. But come on, Seth. A drink? More like a drink or 6. Besides, I'm the indulgent one. You're supposed to be the freak of nature with your hummus platters and zucchini chips and whatnot. If you take this from me, what then? What's that leave me with? The same as you. That's what. So stop copying me.
For once, sis, this doesn't have anything to do with you. Stop worrying. I'm perfectly...
Seth began, but before he could finish, his phone began to ring. Mackenzie also noticed that he had reverted his ringtone to something stock and generic, pre-programmed into the phone itself.
Hello?
Seth greeted whoever was on the other end.
Yeah? Uh-huh. Yeah. What?
Seth both looked and sounded more and more invested as the conversation unfolded, now turning his head to face Mackenzie, looking right at her as he continued his conversation.
I mean, it's certainly worth a shot. Listen, I'll run this by Mackenzie on our way to your place. Give us maybe 3 or 4 hours, depending on how often this one has to stop and use the bathroom.
Seth finished, implying his sister as the focus of his last statement.
Hey, now wait a minute. Me? You're the one with the bladder the size of a damn walnut. I swear, Seth, everywhere we go, I have to account for bathroom stops almost every 30 minutes.
Mackenzie defended herself, throwing Seth under the bus in her place. Seth simply ignored her and finished his conversation.
No worries, Chad. We'll see you shortly.
He finished, hanging up the phone.
Chad Harville? What's he want?
Mackenzie asked, polishing the last bite of her BLT Mackenzie style, standing and swinging her jacket over her shoulders, putting it on.
Yeah, it was. Chad says he's got an idea on how we might be able to find cash. Though, I'm not entirely bought into his approach.
Seth said with skepticism, placing money on the table and putting on his jacket as well.
Well, what's the plan?
Chad has an idea of using Blue Eye's powers to amplify a friend's abilities.
Seth explained.
Wait, abilities? What abilities? Who?
I don't know. Some girl named Honey? Chad says she's a psychic or something.
Psychic? Seth, really?
Mackenzie started, but Seth cut her off as they walked closer to the Torino.
Like I said, Kins, I'm not totally sold. But what the hell, right? I'll let them explain more when we get there.
He finished, throwing her the keys.
Wow, you're giving these up willingly? What gives?
Mackenzie asked, confused.
Like you said, sis. 6 shots in. You drive.
Seth reasoned, climbing into the passenger seat, Mackenzie sliding in next to him from the other side. Pushed by intrigue and the vaguest sense of direction and intention, the pair set off for Chad Harville's residence, the Dew Shine Pub. When the Torino rolled to a stop in the parking lot, it was early evening, and 3 other vehicles besides Chad's sat in the lot. Due to its location and scarce resident/would-be patron population, this is what Chad would call a busy night. Seth and Mackenzie opened the door to the pub, observing 5 people inside, consuming various beverages among them, and Chad behind the bar, rocking out to whatever country twang blared from the jukebox. The middle-aged pair, dancing with each other on the floor, near to the music machine itself, were obviously there together. The other 3, lining the bar, sipping their whiskeys and beers, one of whom was smoking a cigarette, all looked like to be in their mid to late 50s, weathered by lives of turmoil and hardship, written in the wrinkles of each of the men's leathery faces. As the door closed behind Seth and Mackenzie, however, Chad instantly saw the pair and moved from behind the bar to greet them.
Hey, glad you got my message. Where's Huck and your blue-eyed friend?
Chad asked.
They're on their way. They should be here any time now. So, what's going on?
Seth asked.
It's best if I let her tell you.
Chad stated plainly.
Her who?
Come on, I'll introduce you.
Chad offered, turning to lead them up the stairs and to his apartment above the bar.
Jerry, watch the place for me, will you?
Chad yelled as he ascended the stairs. One of the weathered men at the bar acknowledged his request, whom Seth and Mackenzie figured must be Jerry. Upstairs, Chad led the twins into a small living room, with a 20-something-year-old girl sitting quietly on the couch.
Honey, I want you to meet Seth and Mackenzie. These two are who I was telling you about.
Wait, honey? I didn't know you were seeing someone, Chad.
Seeing? What? Oh, no. That's my name. My name is Honey.
The girl reasoned, standing to shake the duo's hands.
So, Chad told us you can help us find out what happened to the cash.
Mackenzie asked, eyeing the girl from top to bottom.
Well, yeah. See, I had this really strange dream about this monster chasing me through the forest. When I described it to Chad, he told me that it's something you two have been looking for.
Yeah, but the weird part is, I called her right after this dream she had, asking if she could help us. See, Honey here's a bona fide psychic.
Okay, so you called her to see if she could psychic up a location for cash. I suppose I understand that. But what are she and us doing here, and why is Huck and Blue Eye on their way?
Well, Chad here had this crazy idea of using your friend's powers to amplify my own, so maybe I can reach through the void of the cosmos, as it were, and get you some information.
Honey elaborated.
And that's going to work?
Seth asked, Mackenzie still silent, simply staring and smiling at Honey, listening to all that she had to say.
I mean, I don't know. But honestly, if your friend can do all Chad says he can, then maybe.
Honey responded a bit with half confidence.
Well, he's not our friend, but he and Huck should be here soon.
Mackenzie finally spoke.
Come on, honey. What do you say I buy you a drink while we wait?
Mackenzie asked, extending an arm for Honey to hook onto.
Really, Kens?
Seth asked with slight disapproval.
What? When you play for both teams, you get double the trophies. Besides, even you gotta admit, she has a great ass.
Mackenzie winked. Honey, on hearing of the twins' quiet conversation amongst themselves, agreed to Mackenzie's suggestion, wrapping her arm around hers and allowing Mackenzie to lead her back downstairs to the bar below.
Your sister's quite the firecracker,
Chad stated, watching the pair leave.
That she is. And she's more than you can handle. Trust me.
Seth emphasized, walking out of the room with Chad, following the girls back to the bar, awaiting Huck's arrival, Blue Eye in tow. About an hour later, over some beers and light conversation, when the doors to the bar opened and everyone turned to look to see who was entering, Seth and Mackenzie already knew who it was.
Well, there's a sight to beat the bands,
Huck said loudly over the commotion of the bar, holding the door for whom was walking in behind him, the man with one blue eye.
All right, does someone want to explain what we're doing here?
The man asked.
Sure, let me go and get the bar closed down, and then we can get to business,
Chad offered.
Chad, you don't have to kick everyone out.
For what we're getting up to, trust me, you aren't going to want to be here for this,
Chad explained, before yelling out that it was last call and that he was closing up the pub early. The bar broke out into a chorus of awes and orders for one last drink, while Seth and Mackenzie led Honey, Huck, and Blue Eye upstairs to begin filling them in. Chad would join them shortly. It was now late in the evening. The sky beyond the windows had gone black with nightfall, and the 6 people that had congregated here finally sat in seats around a large wooden table, 3 candles lit in the center.
So, how does this work?
The blue-eyed man asked, sitting next to Honey, holding her hand as requested.
So basically, I'm going to use the memories and minds of all of us here and use that to draw in on the spiritual energy of whom you seek.
Honey explained.
And we'll be able to see him too?
Mackenzie asked.
Well, yes. Your bodies will be here, but your spiritual energy will travel alongside my consciousness, helping me target his evil twin.
Honey explained further, pointing to the blue-eyed man next to her.
So you're kind of using Seth and I as demonic metal detectors.
Sort of, but from what I understand, this thing is really powerful. So I need to lock onto its source as a way to guide me to it. Which is why I need him. That, and I've never done anything like this before.
What?
Oh, don't worry. Everything should work out just fine. I've read a lot about this sort of thing. Easy as pie.
Honey said confidently.
I love pie.
Really, sis? Now?
Seth asked, momentarily caught off guard by his sister's appetite, but something that also made total sense for her.
Okay, now everybody hold hands and concentrate.
Honey asked of the group, and all of them did as she told. Honey began speaking words that none of the rest of them quite recognized, but if anyone had their eyes open, they would have seen the single eye of the man sitting next to Honey turn a brilliant and burning shade of neon blue. In an instant, Mackenzie and Seth could see themselves standing inside a tunnel of moving light, and among them was Honey, leading them through it. Flashes of places, past events, get-togethers that they didn't recognize, and the like all played out within the swirling lights around them.
Stay close!
Honey yelled to the twins.
My god, what kind of acid-fueled fever dream is this?
Mackenzie asked, looking around in wonder.
How would you know what that's like?
Well, you remember that time you were sent by Mom to infiltrate that group of kids?
Mackenzie began.
Really? You took LSD with those kids. What the hell were you thinking?
Seth asked, surprised.
I mean, I was thinking it would be a good time. And guess what? I was right.
Wait! Stop! What? What is that?
Honey asked, after halting her progress forward instantly. Seth and Mackenzie could see what she was talking about, but were yet unable to identify what it was. That changed by the second as each ticked by. The dark form got closer, revealing the form of a man, or at least what used to be one, his hair disheveled, his business attire tattered, and his flesh deformed in ways that the trio had to wait until he got closer to identify as to how. His skin was bubbled, filled with pustules, and peeling in places, as if he had a bad sunburn on top of it. However, by the time all 3 could see these details, the man's single, gleaming, red eye was prominently displayed.
No, you will not stop me again.
The thing bellowed, lifting his arm and extending his hand outward, allowing a pulsating white energy to leave his palm.
Quickly! Grab my hand!
Honey yelled, but it was too late. The instant this energy was released, it collided with both Seth and Mackenzie and hit them with such force it knocked both the twins off their feet and into the swirling lights beside them, into the wall of light of the tunnel that surrounded them. Honey's words echoed as everything turned instantly black, and Seth and Mackenzie were unsure if they were still conscious or not. There was nothing but the inescapable vacuum of nothingness. When Mackenzie could sense the weight of her eyelids and opened them, she was greeted with the sight of evergreen branches extending over a mostly clear sky, sunbeams shining into her face.
Ugh. What happened?
She said to herself, sitting up.
Seth? Seth, are you okay?
She continued, now seeing her brother beside her on the grassy ground, stirring to consciousness as well.
Yeah, I'm fine, I think. Where are we?
Seth asked. The both of them took a moment to look around and gather their bearings. They were no longer at the Dewshine pub, no longer within a blazing tunnel of light. Instead, the twins now sat about 50 feet from a road that they didn't instantly recognize. A few houses dappled at a distance on either side.
Wait, this is Route 176. I think I know where we are, sis.
Seth realized.
Okay, where?
Route 176, Kins. We're right outside Halstead. Not far from Locust Lake.
Wait, are you sure? What the hell are we doing here? And where's Honey?
I'm not sure. But that pump and pantry gas station should be about a mile that way. Let's walk there and maybe we can use a phone or something. Mine doesn't seem to be working.
Ugh, yeah, mine either.
Mackenzie confirmed, checking her phone.
It's dead. Battery's drained or something.
Same here. Let's see if we can contact Huck. Find out what happened. I know that place has one of the last standing payphones in the country.
Seth reasoned, making jokes at the antiquity of the area.
Sounds like a plan. I love their pizza. That fast chicken pizza or whatever it's called.
It's chicken speedy. Not fast chicken. Come, sis. Let's get walking. Huck and Chad might need our help, and we have to find Honey.
Seth suggested, knowing that Blue Eye could likely handle himself. With that, the pair brushed themselves off and began walking in the direction of Halstead, hoping to get some answers. It was about an hour later when Mackenzie finally sat at the booth across from her brother, who had been attempting to charge his phone off the socket nearby with a charger that he always carried in his jacket.
Any luck?
Mackenzie asked, biting into the cheesy white pizza loaded with marinated chicken meat.
Yes and no. There's something really weird going on. I've got access to the internet, but my phone contacts are gone, and I can't make any outgoing calls. The phone just shuts off when I try.
Seth elaborated.
Did you get me a slice?
Yes, actually, here.
Mackenzie slid the small pizza box containing a single slice of chicken speedy pizza.
Again though, Seth, what's with your meat and grease kick recently?
I already told you. Tastes change. Besides, I just found out something way more interesting. Care to listen for once?
Hey, I listen. We have something interesting to say, so spill it.
Well, it's easier to show you. Freaking look at this.
Seth proclaimed, handing Mackenzie his phone, charger still attached. On the screen, Seth had pulled up a page of some unknown author, someone she'd never heard of before. Beside his picture and his bio, there was a long list of books for sale. She glanced over the titles that held little interest to her, from Anguish to Ashes, Hell's Boulevard, Hollyboughs, and Horrorscapes. But it was one set of books that instantly grabbed her attention, and was obviously what Seth had meant to point out. The legends and the legacy of Locust Lake.
Wait. Why is some hack horror author writing stories about Locust Lake? Is this shit common knowledge now?
Mackenzie asked, utterly confused.
Well, it's more than that, Mackenzie. All these books come in digital versions as well, and I bought these two. Here, just read a bit of this.
Seth continued, pulling up a different tab containing a written passage from one of the books that he had just downloaded to his phone.
Wait, Mom? These books are about... Mom? Did Mom write these?
No. Says here that they are written by an L.W.Suton and a DB420. I guess the DB stands for Doughboy? I've got to assume these are pen names.
Seth reasoned.
Okay. Are we sure that it's the same Shiloh, though? That it's Mom?
Well, each one of these stories are about what Mom went through when she was younger. I mean, look here. Even got her grandparents' names right. Plus, Mackenzie, you and I are both in the last couple chapters of the second book. They're definitely about Mom.
So, does anyone know about us here? Wherever the hell here is? I mean, people should know about this stuff, Seth. Not knowing helps the normies sleep at night.
Yeah, sis, but here, it says that Shiloh is 12 and is the daughter of one of these authors. I think we're in some kind of parallel universe where Mom's life, our lives, are just stories. I mean, look here. It even says the author likes his BLTs just like you, with banana peppers, onions, provolone, and swap mayo for ranch. Call it the BLWT.
Alright, that's too much. First Mom's life and ours are just stories? Red Eye has blasted us right out of our lives to a place where we're just parodies of ourselves? And that's my fucking sandwich. I've had it with this place already, Seth. How are we going to get home?
Well, we could try and find Mom.
Didn't you say she was like 12?
Well, yeah, but do you have any better suggestions? Maybe she, or the Sutton, may know a way to get us back.
Wait, does that make Mr. Sutton our grandfather? Oh my god. Grandparents love their grandkids. I hope you're hungry, Seth. Grandparents feed.
Mackenzie exclaimed with excitement. She hid her intentions well, but Seth knew his sister. She was excited at the chance to meet the grandparents she never knew. Seth knew this because he was too.
Come on, sis. Let's see if we can hitch a ride. Or start walking. I think I know a good place to start looking. We've got about 10 miles to where our family's homestead resides. And you're never going to believe this. We're heading to Locust Lake,
Seth said, finishing his slice and putting on his jacket. The twins would come to find that not many people pick up hitchhikers in the area, and they would be resigned to walking the entire distance. By the time that they had arrived, their legs were sore, feet throbbed in their shoes, and the sky had become overcast and darkening towards sunset.
Can you believe no one picked us up? I mean, come on, Seth. You I can understand, but me? Look at this.
Mackenzie said, standing beside the sign leading to the lake, boasting the words, Hat Creek, instead of the usual Forest Trails State Park.
Oh yeah, sis. Walking all day after being thrown into the dirt by an all-powerful being. We're both sweaty, filthy, and look like thugs. Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Seth reasoned.
Dweeb.
Ass.
Seth rebutted as he began walking up the dirt roadway, but stopped upon seeing a red vehicle parked near to the lake at one of the campsites.
There's someone here. Let's go ask for some help finding Mom or Granddad.
Seth implored his sister, and she agreed. Together, the pair walked into the glow of a raging fire, set between two cabins just inside the tree line. Around it stood 3 individuals, all looking confused by whom it was that was approaching them on private property.
Can I help you?
The tallest of the group asked. His hair was long and black. He wore a red vest over his black shirt and a top hat on his head. His beard and mustache were long and did much to conceal his face, but Seth and Mackenzie instantly recognized him as of Native American descent. Beside him stood a woman with short, curly brown hair, and though her glasses hid her eyes behind the glare of firelight, and her demeanor was currently a bit standoffish, they could also immediately tell that she was a warm and welcoming individual, likely having a great time until two strangers decided to show up. Lastly, standing across from them, on the other side of the large 6-foot-wide fire pit, stood another man, almost as tall as the first. His brown beard nearly as long as the other, but the hair on his head was considerably shorter.
Hi, my name's Seth, and this is Mackenzie, my sister. We're looking for someone.
Yeah, we're looking for Shiloh and her dad. And if they're not here, someone named Doughboy will likely do just fine.
Mackenzie blurted out.
Mackenzie?
Seth elbowed his sister. The tall man spoke up first.
Ah, well, Minus would be the guy you're looking for. I should know, dude's been my best friend for a long time. However, I don't know you. This is private property. A private party, so to speak. But I can let him know you came by.
Seth remembered what he read in the books that he had purchased, skimming their contents as he walked here.
Wait, what's your name?
Me? I'm Shawneh. And this is the lovely Veronica. And, that's Jimmy.
Shawneh pointed at the girl standing next to him and the man on the other side of the fire. Seth instantly recognized Shawneh's name from the Locust Lake books, and also from his mother's stories of those that she had lost. He was a friend of their grandfather's, meeting his demise at the hands of Casper, his face chewed off by lawnmower blades.
Hey, how do you know Minus again?
Shawneh followed.
Well, he's an old friend. We kind of needed his help with something.
With what?
Shawneh asked, but before Seth could answer, and without any warning at all, a vibrant, blisteringly bright light illuminated from behind the group standing around the fire, stopping all their conversations short with surprise, turning to see what had just happened. Jimmy's first thought was that a transformer had blown nearby, but he knew that there were no power lines here. It was as if a bolt of lightning shot down from a clear sky and collided with the earth just inside of the campsite. However, in its wake, standing right where it had been, was a dark and sinister-looking form. His suit was tattered, his flesh bubbled with sores throughout, weeping pus and clear intracellular fluids, and one of his eyes gleamed a brilliant neon red.
There you are.
The thing growled, staring directly at both Seth and Mackenzie.
Yo, what the fuck?
Shawneh yelled, but it was too late. Before he could move in its direction, with a single step, the thing moved blindingly fast in Jimmy's direction, lifting him into the air with one hand.
No!
Seth yelled out at the red-eyed beast, but the thing simply snapped Jimmy in two before he could barely even struggle for freedom, being caught almost immediately off guard. Red-Eye simply tossed Jimmy into the fire like a heap of trash. His dying screams let the group know that he was still alive when the flames began to burn his flesh. The thing turned and smiled at Seth and Mackenzie, and in that moment, a blade stuck itself into the back of Red-Eye's skull, being thrown by Shawneh. The beast turned and leapt over the fire like it flew, landing right in front of Shawneh, staring into his eyes. Everyone moved to protect him, but it was Veronica that got there first, placing herself in front of her significant other and the monstrosity staring him down. She wanted to yell, to tell the thing to get away from her and him, but the look of the thing paralyzed her into silence. The thing simply smiled, claws extending from its fingertips like a cat's, and reached forward, tearing through Veronica as if she were mere paper, ripping him in two. Shawneh screamed for his girlfriend's loss as he was showered in her hot blood. His eyes went rageful in an instant, and methodically he pulled both a machete free from his belt with one hand and a pistol from its holster in the other.
"You fuck you, you son of a bitch!"
Shawneh screamed at the thing and pointed his gun at it. Seth and Mackenzie began moving to aid this friend of their family's, but when the thing took 4 shots from the pistol and simply swiped it from Shawneh's hands, it swiped its other claw at him as well, causing Shawneh to perform a backflip to avoid the attack and gradually put more and more distance between him and it as he defended against the onslaught. The beast reached for Shawneh, but was greeted with the blade of his machete, cleaving its hand down the middle between its middle and index fingers. Immediately, Shawneh went for a second swing, but the creature paid little mind to its wound and wasn't caught off guard in the slightest. Red-Eye held a struggling Shawneh in the air, smiling at Seth and Mackenzie, causing them to stop and begin begging for him to put him down. But Shawneh wasn't about to give up, and plunged his right thumb deep into the monster's glowing red ocular socket. The thing simply laughed, gripping his head and his long hair with its clawed hand, and yanked violently, tearing Shawneh's scalp off in the process. He screamed as the thing dropped him to the forest floor, his thumb coming loose from the eye socket, revealing an ever-glowing crimson emanating from deep within. The beast slowly turned his mangled face upward, methodically looking at Seth and Mackenzie, smiling with a sinister glee, never losing focus as he lifted his left foot and brought it down so violently it shattered Shawneh's skull with an explosion of brain matter and blood.
It's your turn.
He growled again, staring down at the twins who watched on in horror and readied their knives and pistols for a fight themselves. However, before another move could be made, all alive and present were again shocked by a brilliant light like the one before, this one behind Seth and Mackenzie. In its wake, they saw yet another face.
Kramer, what the hell are you doing here?
No time to explain. We need to get out of here.
The demonic presence demanded, grabbing Seth and Mackenzie by the shoulders before either could say another word.
No!
The red-eyed beast yelled, lunging in their direction, but he was too late. A second burst of light had come and faded just before he reached them, with Seth and Mackenzie having only narrowly escaped his clutches. It was of no matter, though. Nothing had changed, and the beast simply opened his own portal and returned back to where he had come from.
Hey, kid, wake up.
Seth opened his eyes at the sounds of his uncle's voice. From the look of the ceiling, they were back in Chad's home, above the Dewshine pub.
Mackenzie? Where's Mackenzie?
Seth asked, concerned.
She's fine, Seth.
I'm right here, bro.
Mackenzie said, from right beside Seth.
What the hell happened?
Well, I had a lock on your red-eyed friend, but he somehow showed up, and when he attacked us, his powers somehow opened a portal to some other universe, and you two were thrown through. I barely made it out alive. If it wasn't for the old blue eyes here.
Honey explained, pointing to the well-dressed man sitting in the chair, head tilted back, unconscious.
He got me out, but something happened, and he's been unconscious since. I had no way of finding you again.
Yeah, until this guy showed up claiming that he was a friend of yours.
Friend is a bit of a stretch.
Hey, that's a fine way to talk about the bloke that just saved your sorry asses. If it wasn't for me, you'd be minced right now.
The man known only as Kramer explained.
Just why are you helping us anyway?
Seth questioned, standing to his feet.
Yeah, I know. I'm a demon from hell.
You're what?
Huck said, reaching for his gun in his holster.
If I'd known that, I'd never...
Chad began, but Kramer cut him off.
I know, never let me in. Why do you think I didn't tell you? Listen, I'm not gonna claim to be a good guy. Far from it. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Get it?
I still don't understand.
Mackenzie said, needing clarification.
That monster wants to rule everything, and if he gets what he wants, he'll be able to. Things your little mortal mind can't even conceive are gonna come slithering their way into this world. Your world. And are make it in their image. Where do you think that leaves me?
Next on the hit list?
Precisely. I can't have you going and mucking up the works. We can stop him. Well, you can stop him. But only for now. Before he makes himself whole. Listen, take care of this mess over here. He'll be fine. Just give him a few hours.
Kramer said, pointing at Blue Eye, passed out in the chair.
But wait, where is...
Seth asked. But Kramer simply vanished before their very eyes.
Ugh, what's with this guy and his exits?
Mackenzie asked.
I don't know. I don't think you should trust him.
Me neither.
Something's not right with that guy.
I have to agree with them. When he coupled himself to my mind to help me find you, I saw things. Nothing specific, but nothing good.
Well, at least we're alive. Come on, Huck. Let's get Blue Eye back to your place before he wakes up. Chad, you should probably get Honey out of here in case Red Eye shows up.
Seth reasoned, wanting to regroup at home and figure out their next move.
I mean, we can give her a ride. Right, Seth?
Mackenzie winked and stated with hopeful intention.
Nah, it's fine. Should probably hold up someplace else for a few days anyway.
Chad offered.
Well, why don't we all head back to Huck's then? There's plenty of room if you consider the outdoors, and we'd love to have you. We can regroup and come up with our next move.
Fine by me. Honey?
Yeah, sure. At least for a couple of days. I have pets at home I need to feed.
Yay! Alright, I like this plan. Come on, Seth. Help me get Mr. Sleeping into Huck's truck.
The pair lifted the sleeping man and carried him out to Huck's truck, placing him in on the passenger side. Honey helped Chad lock up the bar for a few days away. Huck was the first to pull from place, and to Mackenzie's dismay, Honey had accepted Chad's offer of a ride to their destination.
Did you see Red Eye back there? His skin. Something's wrong.
Seth asked, getting into the passenger side of the Torino.
Yeah, whatever he's planning must be happening soon. Hey, Seth?
Mackenzie agreed, and then questioned her brother.
Yeah?
If our lives are in those books, are we just a story? Like that anime we got sucked into. Like, are we not real?
Honestly, sis, you could probably drive yourself insane with questions like that. But if you're here to question your own existence, then you must therefore exist. Besides, that would mean those guys were a story within a story. I mean, how meta can you get?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I'm sure this is the real world. The other one is just a parody of this one. Besides, I've got other things to think about.
Mackenzie reasoned.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Mackenzie simply eyeballed the car pulling from place, driven by Chad, with Honey in the passenger seat.
Really, Mackenzie?
What? For once I'm not thinking about food. And you have to give me credit, Seth. I haven't made one honeypot joke this whole time.
The fact you say that lets me know you've been thinking about them.
Well, of course. Like, what about this one?
No, la 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 la, I don't want to hear this, I can't hear you.
Seth proclaimed, plugging his ears as Mackenzie started the car and began delivering a plethora of honey-related puns. Their good spirits would go a long way. They would need it for all that was to follow.
Well, I guess when you watch someone's life for so long, it's only fair that they take a long look back. And in the end, at least Mackenzie can reclaim her sandwich. For now. But with evil hot on their trail, where will the siblings turn next? You won't have to wait long, because Confronting Evil returns at the end of this month.
social media can be very unpredictable, especially regarding horror content. If this content gets removed, all new content will be simultaneously presented on various websites provided in the description to this video. Make sure to follow me in other digital spaces so that you never miss out on the terror. Also, if you like this video, make sure to leave a comment and hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy what's here, consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Writing is a dream of mine, and it's all of you that make that dream come true.